Hey everyone, this is Patrick Arnold here at the 30th Annual ARC Industry Leadership Forum in Orlando. I'm an analyst here and I'm sitting down with Eric Reichert, Director of Product for Automation at Phoenix Contact. Eric, so great to have you here.
Thank you, Patrick.
So why don't you give us a little bit of background about who you are, what you do at Phoenix Contact, and a little bit of your background.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I've been at Phoenix Contact for roughly 15 years. And over my career, I've worked in automation specifically. So I've held a couple different roles with industrial PCs, HMIs, SCADA, most recently networking, and now I'm in charge of our development operations out of the US.
Okay, great. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is a pretty growing trend recently, which is software-defined automation. So from your perspective at Phoenix Contact, what does software-defined automation mean to you? And can you talk a little bit more about the concepts of separating hardware from software?
At Phoenix Contact, we define software automation as the trend towards virtualization and containerization and away from proprietary hardware solutions. And the main reason for that is the increased openness and flexibility. So a lot of our platforms, you're seeing this with PLC Next and others, and it's definitely something that we're seeing a lot of trends and needs for in the market.
Okay, so when it comes to adopting any new technology or framework or concept, obviously in industry it's very important to justify the business case, to justify the ROI when you're going to something new like that. What's your philosophy over at Phoenix to make sure that that occurs, and what do you think some of the benefits are to this kind of shift?
Yeah, so at Phoenix, we've seen a lot of reasons that people cite for this change in direction. One of them is the increased, or decreased rather, time from a commissioning standpoint. So if you're able to deploy your systems quicker, that's going to save time, which effectively also saves money. We also see that from a flexibility standpoint, from a worker force gap, you have fewer people that are coming out of college already being skilled on a lot of these proprietary systems. So to have the flexibility on a multi-vendor solution where you can just have standard low-code, no-code provisioning, it definitely creates a lot of benefits for the customers.
Mm-hmm. So I know you mentioned earlier the idea of openness, and could you talk a little bit about how this openness is going to benefit industry and any activities or partnerships that Phoenix Contact is working to sort of promote that open message?
Yeah, I mean, openness is core to Phoenix Contact's message in general. If you look at our hardware market direction, we try to have an agnostic view of the market, working with a lot of different control platforms. And if you look at some of the work that we're doing with open process automation and other types of similar groups, we're really trying to push towards this. And that means giving more direct access to our devices. That means creating an ecosystem so that you're designing for a system versus an end device, and getting away from the proprietary lock-in that you sometimes see with traditional DCS companies.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So another thing I wanted to talk about here is, there's this old conversation of the IIoT convergence, and I think with all of these trends around software-defined automation, that conversation is kind of getting put in a new light, because you need a strong IT-OT convergence strategy if you want to be able to implement these concepts successfully. So could you tell us a little bit about how these concepts are working together?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it from an OT perspective, a lot of the technologies that we're deploying, virtualization, containerization, they've been technologies that IT's been deploying for over a decade now. So there's a lot that can be learned and leveraged from that. But specifically, there's a lot of new things that we need to secure for, security being one of them. And that needs to be designed in from the very beginning. And then when you think about things like data governance, who's owning the data? All of these types of considerations need to become top of mind early on, because our IT groups are going to have a preference, as do the OT. And an open platform allows for an environment where you can have even the shared vendors. Previously, when you were working with a proprietary system, whatever security was available, that was what you were locked into. But in an open platform where there's apps or different types of things that you can deploy natively to a device, if you want to work with Fortinet because your IT department you have the ability to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, OT is very different from IT, but that doesn't mean we can't take all the good ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Eric, it's been great talking to you today. This has been Patrick Arnold, analyst at ARC, speaking down with Eric Reichert from Phoenix Contact. Eric, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Patrick.
All right. Have a good one, everybody.